said, we did a bunch.
I guess we're ready. Microphone's on. We'll call the October 11th meeting of the Code Utilities District to order. First item on the agenda is the approved minutes of September 13th, 2023, monthly meeting. So moved.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Approve the budget and financial reports for September 23rd. Any questions on the budget or financial reports this month?
Move to accept the September financials.
Second. All those in favor? General Manager's report.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with an update on our water projects. Our high service area booster pump station project, the new building's been erected at the North Main low service water tower. And all the pumping equipment and interior piping has been installed. Currently, the electrical contractor is installing the wiring devices, panels, and transfer switch. New exterior piping header will be connected between the foundation and the water main in the street the week of 10/16 with an anticipated startup of 10/20. So that's basically all next week. The South Main low service booster station construction is scheduled to start the Monday of the following week on October 23rd. The tank painting project, the South Main high service tank was completed the week of September 25th and went back online on 10/10 after passing tests for total coliform E. coli and volatile organic compounds. The contractor installed a new overflow pipe, second access hatch, and roof vent. The existing overflow pipe was damaged on the inside of the tank by the ice cap pushing against it and the lid. Of course, they were able to see that once the tank was empty and they were able to get in and inspect. The contractor started the South Main low service tank the week of 10/2 last week and is anticipating being substantially complete sometime next week. This tank is going to get an extension to the overflow pipe and a safety gate for the access ladder. They will start the interior of the North Main high service tank after the North Main low service booster station is online, likely the week of 10/23. Last week, the river crossing project was resubmitted to the drinking water program for next year funding. And I submitted 2 additional projects last week for funding as well. A water treatment plant upgrade, replacing or overhauling major components of the water treatment plant, which are nearing 20 years in service. The treatment plant went online in 2006. The priorities are SCADA and IT, water monitoring equipment, and variable frequency drives. And on the back side, I have an attached cost breakdown of that project. And then the Glen Street water main replacement and hospital loop, that was submitted as well. This project replaces 6-inch and 2 1/4-inch cast iron water mains from the 1950s on Glen Street and Westwind Drive with 8-inch ductile iron. We've got documented 14 main breaks on those particular water mains since 2011. And I'm sure in folders we have more, but that's just what we have in our GIS program right now. It also adds 1,550 feet of duct line water main to provide looping for Charles, Violet, Corvo, and Solomon Streets. Then lastly, this project adds over 2,000 feet of water main to provide a redundant service line to Cary Medical Center. Again, I've got a cost breakdown on the back side, and then I've attached a couple of maps. So this first map showing Glen Street, I've got little green flags that show the beginning and endings. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the red pins that you see, those are the main break locations that we have documented. And then on the second map shows the beginning and ending of the second part of the project, where we start at the intersection of Solomon and Violet and head north towards the hospital, and we pick up Corvo, where we're able to tie up the end of Violet and the end of Charles Street to loop it, and then continue on for a second service line to the hospital.
Solomon Street, city water?
Yep.
Okay. Are you putting hydrants at each one of those locations that is depicted on the map, or?
Yep, that's the idea.
Okay. Any questions on those?
Nope.
The other items I have, no update on the Verizon North Main High Service tank lease. The wood cutting on the River Road is ongoing. Billing this month was processed by High Grade Business Group in Falmouth. So the customer's bills will look a little bit different, but they contain the same information.
Is that on both water and wastewater?
Yep.
So we're no longer going to be doing the bills, yeah.
So we read, so really the only thing these guys are doing is the production. So we read, we go through all the bills, make sure they're correct. Any changes based on houses that were sold, and we just ship a PDF to this high-grade business group, and they print it, fold it, put it in the envelope, close it, mail it.
So have we done a real winter labor at CED by doing this?
No.
So this is just an additional cost to what we've had in the past?
So what we can do next month is we'll give you a breakdown of what it's saving us.
Okay.
But the idea is the time that it's going to save us can be put towards accounts receivable, processing liens, basically more effort towards collections.
Excuse me, Hugh, did you mention that they were inserting another return envelope to the customer as well?
Okay, so the two things they'll be providing that we weren't is a perforation on the bill and a return envelope for customers that want to mail a check.
And just, what's the cost of this service for them doing this for us?
So, what did you say, 90 cents?
88.
88 cents a bill. Our cost to mail was 50, plus we had the cost of the envelopes and the paper and the folding and the processing and mailing. So we'll break all that down so you can see the difference between the two.
How many bills do we mail out?
About 2,000.
Okay. You'll have that for the next meeting, will you?
The last item I have in here is I've included the documentation from our boil water order, kind of the internal document I put together that I sent out to everybody after the episode, and a copy of the letter that we included in the billing that's going out, just informing the customers on the whole event. If you guys have any questions?
Yeah, we discussed that a little bit at we had our meeting, doing evaluation. And I think it was unanimous from all of us that somehow or other, we want to have the trustees included in the protocol for those instances, so that we're all aware of it as well, very early in the process. And I don't know if you've done that in this thing you've written up or not, but
It's in there.
it is, okay?
Well, I got blindsided and I didn't like it. Aren't you on CUD? What's going on? I don't know. That should not happen. There's just no way that should, I mean, after you call, if there's a fire, whatever, after you call the people that are gonna come rescue, the trustees should know what's going on. And it doesn't have to be a phone call, it can be an email, whatever. It doesn't have to be you, it could be somebody at the office. But there's no way that we should sit there and say, what's this boil water about? And say, I have no idea. And the way it sounded, I was wondering, is there a problem with our wells? I mean, my God, that would be awful. We didn't know anything.
So is that something that can be updated in the disaster response protocol that emergency management has? Because they have no, they have nothing in their protocols to do that, did they?
No. In fact, we talked to one of the consultant that we work with, that's all they do is work with water, wastewater districts, and they write these manuals for them.
Yeah, I think they have a deficiency in their
And they said, yeah, we don't have it in any of our manuals that so it's a good idea, we'll include it.
I don't see it in here. I read through too fast, but I didn't see in here where we had written to notify the trustees.
I think I read that in there somewhere.
It was written in an email, you said, but I don't think it's included in here.
Isn't this a copy of that email?
No, there was an email we received about new protocols.
Separate one, yeah.
And and again, as David said here, it doesn't have to be you that calls, but if someone from the office, and I think it should be a call. I know we have email, but, I don't look at my email every half hour. And if I'm out and around or something that day, I haven't read my email, and somebody's coming up to me and asking me, am I gonna die if I drink the water? What's going on? So I think it should be a phone call.
Can everyone get a text?
No.
No? That's kind of the way I'd prefer it. It'll show up on my watch, so.
Anyway, yeah, it was just, all the trustees that were there just felt that we should be notified early in the process, and you're notifying the city and everybody else so that we're aware as well.
How did everyone like the financial summary, the roll-up?
Yeah.
Did it work good for everybody?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's the same document. the exact same, so basically I've just collapsed everything into this summary.
Can I ask one last question on the water issue?
Yeah, so it's just a summary of the overall.
Just sampling, are you gonna continue to send it to, was it Winthrop or Waterville down there, or are you gonna,
So we're using a different lab now,
you are gonna use that one?
A&L lab, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
for everything?
No, wastewater still is using Clearwater in Newport.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, but I mean, but for water, you're gonna, everything's gonna be done right there? Yep. Quick, no, it's still 24 hours.
Yeah, it's still, the big difference is the samples now, we just have to bring to Presque Isle Utilities, and they have a UPS pickup location, whereas for years, we were sending our samples, United States Postal Service next day or something like that.
Yeah, and they don't have that in Maine.
Well, I mean, it worked, but we did have a snafu several years ago where the state lab lost our fluoride sample, and they were gonna hit us with a violation. But Russell and Sue had kept records of every shipment that went out that showed the weight was the same. So the weight of the package that went out in the month where they said we didn't send it was the same weight as every other month.
And where's that office located, the new place?
Auburn? Yeah,
Okay, all
Auburn.
right. I know you, I just, thank you.
Yeah, so this is very easy to do. I could just include it the same way, just the summary with the two behind it. And Gary, you had mentioned the number of employees. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that on the last, on the CPI sheet.
Is the last sheet in the bunch? I think I saw it somewhere.
The wastewater and water.
Yeah, it was on the last sheet. Yeah.
I saw that.
So it's, on this sheet, it's,
Okay, I got it. Just mine.
I missed it. I missed it. Well, one thing I've been thinking about, in the past, we've looked at a capital projects priority list and with some suggested years to look at. Can we have a look at that maybe next meeting?
Yeah, and I just for your benefit, because we went up, and I called you the other day. We'd like to see that, we talked about having the budget done before the end of this year.
right.
So we'd like to see the first draft of the budget level by the end of this month, and then we'll discuss that and go through it at our meeting in November, and then we'll approve it in December. And anything we would come up with in November that we want to change, and but the capital thing should be on that too.
I resurrected this packet from last year, and I think a lot of the same stuff would be useful this year to further back up.
Which month was that?
I think this may have been December. Oh, November. Nope. No, I can't tell. It was likely December or January is my guess. I'll leave this with you, so.
Okay, yeah.
And at some point, I would like to hear from Jim Ward again, on some project stuff that he's run into and might help us figure out how to go forward.
Yeah, he was up last week.
He was just up, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, he was up over this other deal.
Yep.
He's come to a meeting before, has he, to talk to everybody, or we
Yes.
had a meeting?
Yeah.
Did he come?
Yes, he's come 3 or 4 times a year, I would say, when we're either doing projects or looking at projects to get online.
Yeah.
So he's very knowledgeable about all the funding stuff and as well as the technical part.
Well, I'm sure you could arrange that.
Oh, yeah.
He's been a great asset in my mind.
Yeah, either, see if we can get him either to the November or December meeting.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from you? Nope. Trustees got anything that they brought up with them with Jim Boyle?
Do you know how far along the wood cutting is? Is he half done or, you know?
I think he's got most of the softwood cut on the River Road. And when I talked to our forester, this was last week, he was starting to get into some of the hardwood, poplar. The wood cutter, I think, was a little more optimistic about what he could get out of there, and our forester didn't seem as enthusiastic.
He's not cutting it as hard.
Joe Byther didn't think there was as much there to,
Oh, less volume.
yeah, a lot less volume, yeah. But yeah, the idea is once he is done that area, he'll go over to the Lion Farm on the Grimes Road, and then finish out on the Albert Road to see what he can get. So we've got this piece of property on the Albert Road that the old water treatment plant used to haul its sludge to. And I forget how big a lot it is.
Yeah, like 10 or 15 acres.
Yeah, it's 15 acres, and it butts up against the Madawaska stream.
It's just property now, right? Doesn't serve any purpose for anything, right?
David, you got anything?
Yeah, I was looking at these new projects that the upgrade at the water treatment plant and the hospital. And under engineering, we've got Alan in there again. And I asked you January or February who Alan was when Alan was the chief, and you said Alan. So I think you've been here long enough that you should be able to do that.
You mentioned that before.
So why can't you, if Alan could?
So, by that logic, if I went and got an accounting degree and a bookkeeping certificate, we could get rid of Sue?
We're not hiring, we're not looking for a bookkeeper. We have a head of the water district.
So,
And that head used to be doing all this engineering, and apparently you can't do it. Is that the deal?
are you here to insult me, or?
No, I'm asking. I think you've been on the job long enough to be able to do this.
So having him as a resource, and it allows us to do other things. I mean, by that logic, we shouldn't hire Deergo, or Jim Ward or Deergo.
So it's customary though on projects of decent size that we would have someone there looking after the project. Typically, it would be somebody from the consultant if we didn't have somebody like L.H. Kroc. We would have somebody on the job, you know, a few hours a day or a week. And, you know, we in the past, we've considered Al a pretty economical resource to provide that service instead of having Deergo or somebody do it for us.
Or me, so I can do other things.
And he can,
Well, I guess I don't know what your job description is.
Well, do you know what opportunity cost is?
opportunity?
Cost?
No.
You've never heard of that?
As a general thing?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, tell me.
So, it's, if my time is obligated on one task, I can only do one thing at a time, okay? I can't do two. I can't be inspecting and overseeing construction and be in the office. So having Al allows us to split those tasks. So it's an opportunity cost savings for me that he can be doing those things and I can be doing others. And as
My
Dave-
question
as Dave mentioned, he's an economical way to do that because Deergo is more expensive.
My question is, what changed from when Alan was doing the job to when you were doing the job? That's my big question.
I was not here. I can't answer that. You can,
Are we doing more projects now than we did back then, or what?
No, I'd say we're about the same. And I'm trying to remember how we did the contract inspection and some of those bigger projects, but I just don't remember, honestly.
I mean, I had no idea either. I wasn't here, so.
I do know one thing, though, we just recently sent a requisition in, and Alan was still on for the payroll. We will be reimbursed for that. But I also had to send a letter to the state explaining why we were using Alan. It was the cost because of the consultant. Jim Lord said the consultant would be between $85 and $100 an hour.
and we bill him out at 55. So that's less we have to finance over time.
Well, why would you have to answer to the state for what our hiring practices and management practices are?
With the way our loan is set up with the
Uh-huh.
state, and it's called a force account. I had to set up a special account.
Okay.
Alan.
Right.
And he has a timesheet, and the project is listed right on the timesheet with an account number. And they have to see this at the state and approve it. And then we will be reimbursed on the requisition for what we paid.
So that the consultant's fee or whatever is included in the financial portion of the project?
Yes, I mean, there's a
Okay.
lot of it, yes.
It's
And
like,
we're reimbursed.
It's mostly reimbursed.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're
Okay.
mostly,
That's what I thought.
pretty much 100%.
I think I asked that question a while back.
But the state has required that. When we did our last project at Grimes, I had to send a letter. They had to have resumes of our two people that were going to be doing the work. We had Alan doing, and then we had Jeremy Baker was here at the time. We had to include him as well. And we had to send resumes and letters. And they had to prove it before we...
So that was just validation that the work was being done and who it was being done by.
And
And they reimbursed the cost.
and
Okay.
that they were certified to do the work.
Okay. And in most cases, that's, if I recall, when I asked that question 2 or 3 years ago, and in most cases, most of the projects where he's working in that capacity, we're reimbursed for those hours, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I send an invoice to the state right along with the timesheet.
Okay.
Is part of that a requirement of having to have a professional engineer involved or not?
No, I don't think it's necessarily a professional engineer, but somebody has the qualifications to assess the work.
so, is it satisfactory, or?
I still don't know.
I can tell you any of these bigger jobs that we work on, including the ones that we did for Al, that we have done as a company, when Al was running the district, when there was lots of times where Al, it normally would be a clerk of the works, and it would be a cost associated with that. You know, there would be, like, if we're working at the high school, there's a project going on, it might be Jan Murchison sometimes, and they have to pay for that, Sewell, to be there because they are an expert in verifying what's done for work and how it's being done, make sure that somebody doesn't put a valve in and bury it up and it's not adequate.
I understand what a clerk of the works does, yes.
So that's where the cost comes from, and Al has been able to do that. And I can tell you right now, as a contractor that's worked for the district, Al saved the district a ton of money by being there, because he's very practical in what he does and figuring out problems and doing that. So that's my personal opinion for what little bit that's worth to you.
So when Alan was the chief, somebody else was doing this job?
On some occasions, there were other clerks of the works that were working on these bigger projects, because the state and the financing, the way it was done, there was other people involved to verify that work. A third party, and there was a cost with that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the bigger projects, we just use someone that the consultant provided.
Yeah.
Whoever designed the project, they come up on a weekly basis.
Regardless.
And those hours are reimbursed from the project, most times.
They're built into the
Yeah,
Right.
they're built in, they
Yeah,
have like a special
okay.
line item.
And that's what he picked up on, that's
Yeah.
why it's in there.
Yep,
All right, Phil, you got anything else?
I think I'm done.
I had one last question on the South Main booster station. How long are they expecting to be done with that in November?
Hope so. I mean, I'd like, what we've been, the way we've been trying to facilitate access and coordination with these contractors is to get them both done this year. We may run out of time on that one, because once they set up the temporary pumping, all that's outside. And if the temperatures get too cold, although everything's always moving. But it will really be up to them.
And they want to put temporary heat or whatever to finish it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, the one on North Main, seemed like it took it forever, and then finally it came out of the ground quick.
yeah.
All right, nothing else?
Nothing for me.
Someone want to make a motion to, oh,
No, I
sorry,
have
Sue.
a couple of things. Number one, I'll have to see Dave after, because I have a discharge for a lien that needs to be signed after the meeting. The Maine Rural Water is having their conference that they have every year, and it's going to be between December 5th, 6th, and 7th, and it is at the Cross Center in Bangor. And I know...
Thank God.
You're going?
Say, thank God, they moved it back there.
Yeah, I know. And a lot of times, our trustees have gone for this. So that one is in December, and then in January 31st and February the 1st, the Maine Water Utilities also have their conference in Augusta. So if anyone should be interested in either of those, please
What
let me
date in December is it?
5th, 6th, and 7th. That's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it gets through around 2 or 3 in the afternoon on the Thursday. And the only other thing I will mention, the sewer the sewer rate was increased $5 a year for the next billing, and that figures out to 41 cents a month increase, so the rate will be $22.08 for the next billing.
So I see you passed out the water Bible. You talked about the trustee responsibilities. They're in there in great detail.
Well, after you were in, I looked to see if we had any more, and we didn't, so I ordered them. Yeah.
It's a great resource, and so is the Maine Rural Water Conference. They always have a trustee session that's,
And I haven't got their schedule for any of the events yet.
yeah. Yep.
All right.
Excellent.
Anything else, Sue?
No, I'm fine.
Move to adjourn?
We had a motion and a second, did we, or not?
Did we?
I don't think so.
No.
Move to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Second? All in favor? We're adjourned.
See you next time.
Microphone's off.